This is a quote from Matthew Peterson, the host of the Browns Report here at Chat Sports, that we had to show you guys. Here's the quote. "The Steelers don't know what's coming to them this season. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns outscore them by 50-plus this season in their two meetings. Pickett or Trubisky don't even crack the top 5 QBs in the AFC North. They should have kept Dobbs." Now, I think that is unacceptable and slander or libel, whichever. I guess it's both technically. Let's make sure we body Peterson here. So I want you guys to share this video with 3 Steelers friends. You can use the caption "Petey sucks" if you want to as well. Let's body the Browns and clap back a little bit here on Pittsburgh Steelers Talk. You're watching Pittsburgh Steelers Talk. I am Tom Downey, here with some rumors out there around the Steelers. We will get to some buzz about adding a James Bradberry or Joe Haden. But first, we continue our theme of haterade being consumed. Richard Sherman took some shots at Kenny Pickett for wearing 2 gloves. Here's the exact quote from Sherman. "Do I think he's the quarterback of the future? I don't know. It's hard for me to trust a QB who wears gloves all the time. It's just different. I have a hard time with it. But he slings it. He's effective, and we'll see how effective he is in Pittsburgh. They do a great job of developing guys." So the first half is pretty mean. The second half is a lot more nuanced there. I get that it's different. It's not a bad thing, though, necessarily. Other QBs who have worn 2 gloves, not all the time, more so in cold weather. Big Ben's done it. Phillip Rivers has done it. Peyton Manning, Kurt Warner, and, of course, the more noteworthy one is Teddy 2 Gloves and Teddy Bridgewater, although 3 of those guys are Hall of Fame QBs. So just wearing gloves in and of itself, I do not believe is indicative of a bad thing. I don't think it's that bad. Now, we'll get into some of the negatives for Pickett, sure, but if your only reasoning is he wears 2 gloves, I think that's kind of stupid, to be honest. So do you think Richard Sherman, who is apparently set to retire, or at least not play this year and join Amazon as a commentator, is he being a hater? Is he just being mean to Kenny Pickett for weird reasons or no good reasons? Why for yes and for no? This question is our pinned comment on today's video. So get the ad break on YouTube. I want you guys to take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know if you think Sherman is being a hater. For me, wearing gloves isn't an issue. That's not a big deal if you want to wear it. I've seen QBs play better, especially in cold or wet weather, because it just gives them a little bit better grip on the football. Do whatever you want. Honestly, it's like, I don't like a quarterback wearing a shooting sleeve. Well, the aesthetic's awesome, so it's fine. But it's a weird thing to focus on. What I think Sherman's trying to say is that he has hand size concerns. And Pickett's fumbles in college were an issue. Now, he fumbled, I think, 26 times, lost 26, whatever it was, over his 4 years, lost 26 in 4 years at Pitt. He did fumble a decent amount. That is a red flag. However, he still put up awesome numbers over especially his final career for Pitt. So the 2 gloves he wore didn't really matter all that much in 2021. 67.2%, over 4,000 yards. 38 career fumbles, by the way, for Pickett. I think 26 were lost. 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He had 6 fumbles this year. That is a valid red flag. Not all those fumbles were lost, of course, but he played pretty well. So I think 2 gloves or gloves isn't enough of a reason to go, not going to make it as a QB. That's a really weird thing to say, to be honest. So I'm not that worried about it from Pickett's standpoint. And if you want to support Kenny Pickett, go get his jersey. Chatsports.com/Pickett will take you right into the Fanatics site. You can buy the officially licensed NFL jerseys for Kenny Pickett. The white, I think the black looks fire, by the way. Get yours today. Chatsports.com/Pickett. Pickett. That link will be in the comments section and in the description. James Bradberry has finally, for being honest, been released by the by the New York Giants. So could the Pittsburgh Steelers have interest in adding a starting caliber corner suddenly available in the open market in mid-May? The Giants had tried and tried and finally failed and gave up to trade away Bradberry. They had talked with the Chiefs. They had also talked with the Texans. They were not all that close, it appears, in the end on a deal. So they cut him to save a bunch of money. And although Bradberry is coming off a down year, he can absolutely still start for an NFL team. I think at minimum, he'd be this team's number 2 outside corner. Now, the reasoning why the Giants are like, yeah, we can move on from beyond the cap savings is he took a step back in 2021, and he was targeted more frequently on the Giants' defense this year. But that level of growth in targets and the slight boost in the completion percentage allowed does not explain the doubling of the touchdowns allowed from 4 to a troubling 8. And the yards allowed, 848 is a lot. Even when you are targeted 115 times, that's not a great yards per catch allowed there. When Bradberry got beat, he got beat worse than normal. But he was awesome in 2021. He was okay-ish awesome in 2020, okay-ish in 2021. I look at the Steelers' depth chart right now. I like Kelly Witherspoon. What a steal, by the way, that was. The Seahawks gave him up for nothing, and then he played great in Pittsburgh. Thanks, Seattle. Levi Wallace was a Bill and is now a member of the Steelers. I think he was as a number 3. If he's your backup outside corner, I think you feel good about it. But the Bills spent years trying to replace him, finally doing so this offseason. Cam Sutton, love him in the nickel. Do I trust Justin Lane, James Pierre, Arthur Mullet? No, I don't really. So I would have a lot of interest in adding James Bradberry, of course, if the cost is right. I would argue the Steelers are a good destination for the now released former Giants corner. But we're a show for the people. I want to hear from you guys. Do you want to sign James Bradberry? Type in S for yes, you want to sign him, or P for pass. You don't want to go that route at the cornerback position. Now, you better believe if and maybe when Bradberry signs, we will break it down for you. We'll have the breaking news video, discuss the impact, all that good stuff, because when news happens on the Pittsburgh Steelers, we do a video on it. That's like the whole point of being on YouTube, right? So if you haven't already, hit that big red button here on Pittsburgh Steelers Talk and subscribe. It's youtube.com/Steelers TV. From one corner to another one in Joe Haden. Bleacher Report has suggested the Steelers re-sign him to help at the cornerback position. Of course, Pittsburgh dumped Haden after the year. They allegedly tried to work out a new deal. Didn't happen. And since then, the Haden market has been suspiciously quiet. Now, we do know this about the NFL. They are ageist. Joe Haden just turned 33 years old. As good as he's been over his lengthy NFL career, that is old for a corner. And he battled injuries the past year, and even a couple, if we're being honest there. But he's still a contributing corner. And if I had to pick between Joe Haden and Levi Wallace, just if the money was the same hypothetically, I'd rather have Joe Haden. He allowed 60% completion rate. The yards were actually pretty low. Didn't get picked on that much. 3 touchdowns, not that many plays on the football. I think that regression in the pass breakups, in the interceptions, is a bit of a red flag. A guy who's had 2, 5, 2, 1, 3. The last time he had no interceptions and fewer than 5 or 6 pass breakups was all the way back in 2015 when he played 5 games. So he missed some time, and that was, I think, a factor in this case. But this was one of his lesser seasons for the first time in a while. The first time he went over 60% completion percentage in the 4 years Pro Football Reference has been doing that statistic. So he wasn't quite the same that he was at his peak, but it can still help you in a pretty good amount there. And if you could get one of those corners on your depth chart, I think you feel better about it. So hypothetically, both these guys are the same to pay, the same cost to bring him into the organization. Who would you rather sign? JB for James Bradberry or JH for Joe Haden? I want to hear from you guys right now in the comments section. I would probably go Bradberry over Haden. I'm not sure how the relationship is between Haden and the Steelers, but Bradberry's younger, I think a bit more impactful at this stage in his NFL career, but this is not me trying to body Joe Haden. I would not say no to Haden either. If they were to say, yeah, we'll bring him in, we'll be good, we'll add him for a 1-year deal, I think what we're doing for any of those guys, I would not be upset with it. Adding another corner, I think, is the one thing this team is like a better number 1-ish corner, is the top thing this team is missing. Maybe that's Bradberry Haden, maybe it's not, But at this stage in the offseason, I do think it's worth a gamble.